The following story was formed through the intertwining of two personal experiences that spanned 20 years apart from one another. These two stories remain memorable and equally scarring, as the homes we lived in were violated in some fashion within each story. The experience helped create a personal perspective on the bigger picture and brought new meaning to the term thief. Side note, each story can be uniquely identified by the location of our homes. Maryland, 2015. At the time, I worked an early shift requiring me to depart my house at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. For anyone that knows about this hour, knows how jarring this can be on the human body. It's painful and almost irritating. I sat at the edge of my bed, conjuring up a thought, to call in sick. It was tempting. Had I known what I was about to experience, I would have been better off calling in sick. New York City, 1990s. I jumped out of bed in excitement for Saturday morning. I sat on the edge of my bed thinking about what was ahead of me. Cereal, cartoons, and old school martial arts flicks. With my brother sleeping, I attempted to open my bedroom door. I shook it over and over and nothing happened. Someone had locked our bedroom door from the outside. My dad placed a small hook and loop type lock on the outside of the door and had used it when we misbehaved. I had to think about the night before, and I definitely knew we didn't cause any trouble. I could hear yells coming from the hallway. I stood baffled behind the locked bedroom door. Maryland. I gathered all my necessities and gingerly walked towards the front door. I was ready to step out onto the stoop, and there, in plain sight, a man was sleeping on his back, right on my porch. In a panic, I slammed the door closed and ran into my kitchen and picked up the house phone. While describing the incident to the police, I looked out from my front window and watched the man slowly move into a seated position, and he just sat there, looking off into the dimly lit street. I went to my back door, through the backyard, and went to the side of the house and waited. New York City. From behind my closed bedroom door, I heard a muffled yelling coming from some direction, probably my parents' room. Suddenly, someone started shaking my room door, and they also realized the door was locked from the outside. It was my parents. They unhooked the latch. We all reassembled in our living room. Most, if not all, of our electronics were missing. The outline of dust in shape of a TV and VCR were easily seen. We reported all missing items. At the time of the incident, we didn't know how many people were involved, but whoever it was surreptitiously entered our residence, locked us in our own rooms, and stole all the electronics we owned. Maryland. 4 cop cars approached the house, no sirens. 3 officers exited their cars, and no one appeared to be panicked. They just casually approached the man. As they approached him, they repeatedly asked, "Get up, do you live here?" "Are we taking a nap early this morning?" another officer asked sarcastically. They fished out a screwdriver and a notepad. "What were your plans with the screwdriver?" He mumbled something unintelligible. They stood him up, and he looked at least 6 feet 5 inches tall. They'd bring him to their car. I didn't need coffee at this point. My neighbor had heard about the incident and reacted.
"I don't understand why he'd sleep on your porch when he can sleep on mine. It's much more comfortable."
New York City. A few months after our house had been robbed, I noticed police cars in front of our neighbor's house. The police marched out 3 teens in handcuffs. All the neighbors that stood outside were clapping. They arrested these 3 for burglaries in the area. It was presumed they were the ones that robbed our house also. At the New York residence, we were physically robbed, whereas at the Maryland residence, we were almost robbed. Both incidents were a foreshadowing.